Okay. So instead of continuing with the data sets, which is something I would like to do later on, right now I'm going to start with giving you an overview of how the research proposal are made. These are more on the practical side, hands-on, where you're looking for some sort of assignment as a outside a third party contractor, and you need to know certain level of knowledge you must have to express it in a proposal that you send to the client. That's when you make your first impression, and this covers quite a bit of area that we would eventually get to, but you would at least be able to identify the elements and their importance that make up the proposal. And that sort of ties up with whatever we are to discuss, like sampling, data types, analysis, and so on. So let's look at what I have opened in front of you. It is coming from the book. It's coming from page 419 onwards. The area we are looking at, the module is module 3, which is research in business and business of research. So, in fact, there are two documents I'm pointing to. One is coming from the client side. We call it request for proposal. That's when the client is calling not only you, but maybe several other researchers to get a quotation or response that describes the time and money involved and so on. So they're going to ask that you respond to RFP or request for proposal. Now, what does the request for proposal look like? In the practical sense of how we look at, or generally how the requests for proposals are given to us, it's not as elaborate and not as detailed. Yes, the idea here is for the client to get a ballpark quotations and not to disclose too much information at this point. Okay. So, what does the request look like? Now, you could see that this is more like actually whatever document I'm going to run by you today, they're coming from the real uh, exchange of documents, or these are real documents. We just change the name of the company or businesses. So if you can see this logo and this area, this is just a format. So when it comes to you, the company gives a little bit of a background about where they're coming from, what is their status, legal status, and so on. And then they continue with what is most important for us is the project goals or scope of services. Scoping a research project is comes in two format. One we call broad scope, and the other one is called narrow scope. Broad scope means that not much information is revealed. They're just using generic terminologies and sort of giving a brief on what they require in the general sense, not being very specific, but they would open up a lot of ideas that can come back to them from your response to proposals. So they make it very short scope so that you can give a broader response, not knowing exactly what it is. It's not a good practice, but that's how it is. It happens when it is a broad research. And sometimes the reason is that even the client doesn't know exactly. They know the objective, but they don't quite realize the details or intricacies or the type of research that is specifically going to be using certain methods and methodologies. So they are themselves not as educated. That could be another reason. So let's look at this one where I'm pointing to. It says ABC Incorporated is seeking the services of a market, and this is a market research project. marketing research firm to develop and execute comprehensive market research. So, it's a market research. At least you have something that is defined within the category of market research. Um, this project is an extension of our long-term research work engagement with our client. So basically, it is somebody who's subcontracting or wants you to work with them for their client. Then you've got research project objective, which is what we want to be very careful about when reading it. It says scope of research, and they have itemized everything, right? It says collect business intelligence for product research. So intelligence means competitive intelligence. Comparative intelligence would encompass everything that has to do with the product, including the feature sets, including the consumers' behavior, perhaps surveys are involved, and so on. But let's just read it quickly. Best price determination. So that is their other objective. Evaluate product competition and its business market outlook. So here you're going to do industry research, consumer research, product viability research, um, you know, trending product or not, all that sort of information you have to collect. The client will rely on data collection and data analysis as in quantitative research as well as qualitative analysis of social media trends, behaviors in the purchase of similar comparable products in current online markets. Long one, but what it has in it is a lot of information on the demand or what is required. They're asking for quantitative data, which means it has to be numeric. This is one class of data that needs to be collected. Then they're talking about qualitative, which means trend analysis, consumer sentiments, demand in the market. Not numerically, not easy to convert numerically, but it could be a data that is pointing to qualitative analysis. Um, and the research will also determine product utilization by a particular consumer group, answer the questions such as what value the product brings to the consumer. It means that they're asking you to do surveys to collect primary information, or there would be a lot of reliance on the primary information that is collected by interacting directly with the human subjects, or you will have to do recruitment of human resources, kind of in a sampling method, which means you will have to adopt a sampling technique to find that specialized group of people that you would select. Then task will include, but may not be limited to the following. When people write things like may not be limited to, they're basically opening or giving a little bit of a room to themselves so that they can later on demand a little bit extra work or add to this initial RFP. And so they write performing SWOT analysis, product analysis, consumer data collection. I would encourage you to read this just so that you get an idea of what you can expect to see as the first document coming from the client side. In response to this, you will draw a research proposal, which is what I'm showing you now, page 421 onwards. So association's background, you're going to give, your background of the company, and then you will have to redefine the problem in a more professional way so that it appears that you are not only professional in using the correct terminologies, but you are translating the intent of this behind the scope that is drawn by the client so that it can be articulated in a more definitive sense. So let's see what is done here. I'm going to make this appear in single page. It says the client is interested in investing its resources for launching new product. This is important. When you do research for something that is not already in the market, it's a new product, you have to ask a lot more questions and identify that product with your target consumer market as well as the industry that it represents. So if it is a brand new product, if it is a competitive product that is typically considered to be standard and has many competitors, the approach would be different. This to be understood carefully. So what have we written here? We we first of all, the important buzzword here is new product launch, or it is a pre-launch marketing research of a product. Okay. Then you have research objective, which is different from a problem. Problem needs to be solved, obviously, but the objective here is to ensure that in order to solve the problem, we remain, um, mm, we are consistently approaching the objective of the research in such a way that it is not deviating from the main focus of what is supposed to accomplish. So we have to remain consistent with our approach to be more focused. And therefore, we are going to create an objective which will drive everything in your research work. The client is an online retailer of innovative, and the other reason you do this is to get an endorsement from the client, so that the client and you both are have got like what we call in legal terms the meeting of minds. That means that you understood the objective in the same way, in the same sense that the client has intended for you to um, interpret it. Um, It says pre-launch. As we understand, client's primary research objective is to make pre-launch decision. In this regard, the client wants to outsource a comprehensive online market research. Now you have put it within quotes the main category of your research assignment. So you are not doing business plan. You are not doing academic research. Okay, you are doing practical hands-on market research. So this one. Now, the words that you need to pay attention to is that covers both qualitative and quantitative research concerning new product viability, optimize pricing, and validate target consumer market. So these are the three subsections of online market research that the client is interested in. And as you keep going down in your proposal, you will start to open up more details of the main subject matter by itemizing it in uh, in a manner that leads the client towards the approach to how you're going to manage this assignment. The product viability, what does that mean? Provide, so you're going to also define the product viability, provide information on the size of the opportunity. When you're delivering a proposal, you want to explain things in more detail, even though you got a broad research assignment, which is not as detailed. But your idea is not to keep calling the client, but to somehow, based on your experience, professional background, and perhaps knowledge of the industry, you would want to clarify certain terminologies, including certain definitions, which would fit into the model of typical market research. Um, so optimize pricing. First thing you would do is optimize pricing. Validate target. So what does validation mean? This is what you're going to explain. Explore the possibility of selling a new product to a range of selected target customers. Since this is the most speculative of options, market research requires a complete map of target market drivers to establish their likelihood of buying these new products. Keep in mind that the course is limited to, or it has certain demarcations of how much of it we can cover. So, in order for us to remain more focused on um, delivering ideas and concepts rather than teaching how to mark target audiences or how to do social media research. We are just going to give at least or mention terminologies that you can later explore using those keywords in the browser to find more information about them. And perhaps there could be a more better mention or details in the book as well. So I'm going to go down to number four. Number four in the list is research scope. So even though we got the scope that is defined by the client, or at least it is mentioned in bullet points, now your idea is to do a bit of hand holding, bridging that connection between yourself and the client to make them understand um, their requirements, to have, um, I guess, becomes more informational for them, as well as you're introducing certain terminologies for them so that they can connect with it. And eventually, when the final negotiations happen and your proposal is accepted, or at least initial proposal is you are asked to revise, you can go to the next level and the third level. And so, unless you get a more detailed scope identified, you will keep changing your proposals, because the proposals you will see also carries um, the time and milestones that you will have to identify with, how you're going to reach those milestones and cover the entire research. So all that is going to play a role. So you start with the initial scope and try to make it as simple as possible so that it can work both ways, and use their terminology, but make it appear as if, you know, at least you on your side understand what they're asking for. And making it easy for them is if any of the terminology is fitting in best with how they have described certain situations and certain type of research, you would rather use their wordings. So it is a balance you have to keep. So here you are going to identify it, the scope, as collect business intelligence, best price determination. So collect business intelligence is business intelligence research, product research, price research, price analysis. These terminologies you must have heard many, many times. Okay. And the only parts that we are unable to connect sometimes is that they are interconnected with each other, which means that one set of data would impact the other set, or the other set of data cannot work with the previous one, which you may have defined under, say, business intelligence. Yet it has an impact on price determination. So they're working as one engine with lot of moving parts. Evaluate product competition and its comparative analysis. You're going to do business competition. You're going to do the client will rely on data and data analysis, as in, so you have to do data analysis, and also be mindful that you will have to collect information from social media trends. If you look at the original request, they had included social media as one of the sources to collect the information. uh, so what happens as a researcher, when you are writing the proposal, you want to put things in the perspective of a general flow of research plan. So the general flow says that you start with the scope, open it a little bit, then you keep going down and give it a sequence which sort of makes it appear as if one process is followed by another and the another, so that there is this flow of understanding of this proposal. So first, we are going to tell them how we are going to collect the information. And then we're going to tell them how we are going to separate them into quantitative and qualitative data, because when you're doing analytics, the qualitative data sets have got a different methods of qualitative analytics or qualitative analysis. Let's just say it's the same thing. And then quantitative is another set which is numeric, and of course, it has another technique which works with the quantitative data. All right.
Question.
Yes.
So, first question, do they have software to help write these type of thorough proposals?
No, actually, there are so many softwares out there, but let me answer that by uh, saying that no two researches are the same. If, in my experience with all the work I've done so far, hardly any I've seen that are exactly the same researches that you can duplicate. If it is not duplicatable, then it is not standardized. And that is the peculiar nature of research work. There is always, and then the second aspect of research is that it sort of takes its own direction at certain point, and depending on the uh, issues that crop up, as you get results which leads to doing further analysis or breaking it down into another sort of approach to solving it. One of the main reasons could be the data unavailability or a relative data that could give, how we have in legal terms, we say circumstantial evidences, which are not direct, but they insinuate or they relate to. So there could be another approach you have to take for that kind of information that's not easily obtainable. So if someone has to write something of this nature, I would say that it's not standardized, and therefore, I mean, even softwares could be there. And I've seen companies that say, okay, if you buy this sample from us, you pay this much, or you get a subscription for these sort of documents. That's been around for a long time. So I would say that you can get that as a format and then build on top of that, or start to use it as a base document and then customize it.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
Um, is there any particular project management software um, that's helpful?
Okay, as far as project management software, project management, let me tell you, um, there are a lot of programs that are built for, those people that have done, they're certified program managers, or, one of those people that only do manage programs. Programs can be numerous, or it could be one focused program that they are given the charge for executing. The management part involves CRM, it involves finance, it involves budgeting, it involves procurement. There are all sorts of aspects of managing a project. So if you do project management, there are softwares which are basically, let's just take Zoho, for example. Zoho has started as a CRM software. Now it's become a project management software, because you can manage inventories, you can manage product procurement, like logistics is there now. Costing software is also integrated in that. So there could be a lot of those softwares. If you just type program management software, I'm sure you'll see that there are so many of them. But if you're talking about research project management software, I haven't seen any that is only specific to research management
Okay,
so far.
okay,
Um, but you can try, but see, what you should be asking is the kind of softwares which would make it easy for you to do analytics. Analytics is the key these days. project management formats and things like that, which has so many moving parts, is not as difficult to uh, to find, or even to say to adopt to, or even there are these project management software that also include video, like do it yourself or something like that. It gives you all those facilities. So there is a lot of um, things that can happen in those softwares, but important and more difficult to work with are the analytics software. For example, Tableau, for instance, is what we use. Tableau would allow you to put in the numbers or put in what you have collected as information sets, may it be qualitative or quantitative. Plug them in, and then you get to see beautiful charts. They're all made graphically very lucrative, very nice. They also do the error corrections. They do margin of errors computations. It's all mathematically done. You can see data visualization, 3D diagrams, where you have x and y axis, and x axis, which is horizontal line, can be multi-dimensional, or there could be multiple variables in the same sort of uh, it's all visual analytics I'm talking about. And then
Yeah.
there could be things that you perform as mathematical functions to do various computations within the Excel sheet. So, but those are given proper names, they are given proper categories, they accept only certain type of info. For instance, if it is quantitative data, for instance, certain type of quantitative data cannot be fractional, like number of children cannot be 1.5, or on the other hand, there could be a data that could be fractional. That means the speed of a car, how many miles it covers in so many seconds. So it is all fractional to the nth unit after the fraction. So those two data types have got a place in those softwares that sort of tells you and corrects you when you're using wrong type of data units. Data units, I mean, for now I'm just referring to what I mentioned, like fractions and non-fractions. So that is the main thing that is something that you would have to learn to use.
What
Unfortunately, those softwares are not very cheap, but they come with a trial, or they give you a free trial with, giving you a bit of a hands-on how it works. So that is the main thing that we worry about. Generally, the formats that are described in the book, I would suggest that if you want to start off with your own projects, use them as something that would be the basic documents on which you can add things or edit it. You're free to do that. It's not something we are giving you as copyright elements of our book. But and then additionally, in the books there are contracts. Like when you look at the internet law and ethics, that is module 4, which we will get to, you will find that we have also added a client contract, or a contract that is mutually or largely acceptable in North America, both in USA and Canada. So you can read that, and you can use that also to finalize any contracts if you'd like. You don't have to hire a lawyer. But we don't, of course, there is a disclaimer, and you can, bottom line, you'll have sufficient information and the type of documents that will guide you through in doing your own
um,
independent research work.
what about Google Analytics? Can that be used for this type of research? For
Google
research in
Analytics,
general?
yes, of course. I mean, if you subscribe to, see, you can use it with your own account, of course. You can use it with getting a general idea when you're doing keyword searches. It'll tell you the most common or the most widely used keywords, or what is trending and things of that nature. It'll give you that sets of data. Um, but be mindful that that information is not as detailed as it would be available for business accounts or other subscribers that pay a heavy cost for obtaining data on consistent basis that is more even more detailed, and it is more granular data. So what you are looking at is a piece of what is considered available to you, and then others for which you have to pay for. The data is expensive. Lot of times when we are doing research scope or we are giving proposals relating to the cost of acquiring the data, there are two major costs in research work. One is human resource, second is the data cost. So if the data cost is something for which you will have to search for, look into, you will probably end up getting something more beyond just the information from the Google. Okay. Generally, that's not as sufficient as we'd like it to be, but that's the key. That's what you will be discovering, and then you'll have to make some analysis that is based on relational figures, like so many followers, for example, of account X. But on the other hand, you could see that subscribers are far less or very few subscribers. So what is going on? So there has to be some rationale. And Tableau would help you to achieve that. It would tell you that certain numbers don't quite match, or it has a directory of its own, which makes a rational judgment. And that judgment is programmed based on Tableau's ability to get a more detailed sets of data from these sources like Google. So it is a kind of a puzzle and a challenge for a researcher to find information sets
Yeah,
online.
so I was just thinking about maybe a certificate or certification in Google Analytics, because I notice a lot of the jobs that I've been looking at, they want you to have some type of knowledge of that. I know it's expensive, so I'm looking at it from an employee or
Investment. Okay.
contracted type of investment instead of, yeah, because I know I couldn't probably afford to get a business account for Google Analytics, but I could work for
Yeah.
somebody.
Uh, so I think in the getting knowledge of Google Analytics and then also becoming certified are two different things. If you really need to be certified to get employed, of course, that is the piece of paper you need. But in order for you to understand what Google Analytics is, it's basically their own utility which puts you in a box that only makes you work within their environment. That's all there is. Now, there are better data sets and better quality of information of similar type of analysis, okay, which is done with Bing. Bing would allow you to do that. Yandex will allow you to do that. Um, Yahoo has an area which lets you subscribe to it as a business consumer, which would open up more sort of information and more data available to you. So Google is one venue, and analytics is just putting you in that box, which will explain their own analytic or analysis boxes. So if you want to get certified, I'm sure they have an exam, so you can give that exam. But then don't forget that there are private sources. A lot of times in the real world, you will not get quality data just like that. You will have to, for example, since you bought the subject, I'll give you an example of something which you will find interesting. take you. Like you've heard of a lot of business related information, you know, you cannot get online. For example, for small companies or medium-sized companies, some businesses that are private limited, they don't show their financials. Product pricing keeps changing. Things happen. There are notes in the accounts. Financial statements are important, let's say. And where do you get them? Can you just Google it? I'm afraid not. That's the problem. Thing is that you have to find certain venues which would make this information available to you for free, but you have to know where to go and get it instead of paying to LexisNexis. LexisNexis also have a way of collecting it from free sources. They would collect it from, let's say, if I'm in Florida, the Orange County Auditor's Office has those records for all the businesses that open up there. It's free information. You can Google it. I'm sorry, you can go on their website and check it. That is what their expertise is. Do you think that they physically go to those companies and collect that info, or would you think that the income tax offices or IRS would just hand it over to them? So, getting a knowledge of where to find that as an alternative source that could be free, there are organization. If it is international data, you can go to UNESCO sites, international monetary funds, and so on and so forth. If it comes to LexisNexis, as example I'm giving you, you can find same information in open corporates. So open corporates is, giving you free information. It is giving you same information you would find on businesses. Just name one business. Here, search for free, plug in our data. You can even download all that data if you subscribe to it in this box that you're looking at. So let's suppose search for free. Okay. Mm. And name one company. I just want you to just name one if you can, please.
Um, one company. Oh man.
Private
Uh,
company,
oh,
your
a
friend's
private
business.
company.
Hmm.
Um, oh gosh, if you put me on the spot, I'm thinking. Give me
I would.
um, I can't think of one.
Okay. So let's suppose is my competitor's AIIP. I think it's called Association of Independent Information Professionals. See, this one is in USA. Um, and you can see it's a non-profit. Just like us, it was registered in California. These are three locations in Louisiana. It was registered and all that. You can see that it is also reflecting the different jurisdictions, company addresses, um, and things which you would otherwise find difficult to just Google just by Googling. So you could see it has some valuable information. Business entity report, business entity, maybe it's a requirement in USA. So, these are the reports that you can open up. And these are also attached. Um, who are their main officers? Please log in to see this data, status, incorporation, things like that. And there would be financial information also. So, who was the president at certain date and who left? It's a great deal of information, and the officers also. If you click on this, you can get the names of the officers. Where was it? Same one. Anyway, I'm just giving you or answering your question rather, okay?
Yeah.
So that you understand that there are um, and certain information, of course, you will get to uh, you'll start building your own directories and your own links, and you'll start taking up assignments which you are good in, like research. market research, if you're good at that, you would know where to get certain type of data. It'll come with time and with practice, and so on. So anyway, I'm going to give you these two links for now. Let me just put it in the search box. How's it going for you, Iromi? You're doing all right? Iromi?
I I think so.
Ah, um, so anyway, this lecture is these two lectures are different from what we are going through right now. So it is something new. If you get a chance, go through it. If not, still okay. I'll go through it. And we will be adding two more classes. So the week will be extended for an additional 1 week after the last class that is scheduled, unfortunately. Or you can even opt to take the recording, but I'd rather complete it. So these two are there for you for FYI or for, just being a little bit ahead in the class. Other than that, we will continue with what we were discussing today. In fact, um, I hope you've marked the page numbers. If you don't mind, you can even look at the same documents I'm uh, referring to, which I'm discussing. I've given you the page number one last time, 419 onwards.
All
It's a
right.
research proposal. It's in module two.
All right.
So I think I'll be fine on Friday and I'll be seeing you. And besides, not everybody is in today. It's just three of
Right.
us. I hope they'll show up on Friday. And
Where did you
hmm?
where did you put the links?
Can you check in your chat box, see if it is there?
Yeah, I see. I see them.
Hey, Romy?
The YouTube files.
I don't see it. Oh, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah, there is a little box. It says chat. Just click on that.
All right. I hope you get better.
All right. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Really appreciate it. Thanks. You've been great. I'll see you on Friday.
All right.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye bye. Thank you.